Yo.
Hey!
We're back. We're in here. Nothing new. We wanted to do something, a little throwback to our very first ever release, to episode 0. And, to be perfectly candid, I have been thinking in my head for quite some time that I wanted to do an episode like this where we just, no topic, no mission, no this, that, or the other. And we're just kind of like talking about very real things and like our life and how things are going and just sort of like catch up.
I've been thinking about that for a long time too. And I think that it's something that the audience will really enjoy, because we're real people and we have real lives and things go on. And so, episode 0 was keeping it real. This one's when keeping it real goes wrong.
Yeah.
Shout out to Emir.
Shout out to Emir. Yeah, that's actually one of our very first bands as children that we were super into. And like, it's funny because the people out there, they're going to go Google Emir and they're going to be like, whoa,
what the
whoa,
what?
These kids were wild, dude. We've always been into heavy metal music. And anyway, so that was just funny how that title worked out there. But like on a serious note, a lot has been changing personally in my life since starting this podcast, like in very shocking ways that like I only dreamed would happen, but I didn't actually expect them to happen. And like, it's getting to the point to where I am meeting people and, well, not meeting, but like seeing people in real life that I've known for a long time, maybe not seen in a few years. And then I bump into them and they're like, dude, I love your podcast. And immediately I crumble. I'm like, oh
no.
I crumble because the whole point of this is I'm on camera and I'm like in our little room here, safe from the world, and we're just speaking into a camera and we're blasting out there on the internet, like we're saying some really deep stuff, and some really like very real, personally vulnerable stuff. And then I guess like when I see people in real life and they're like, oh dude, I love the show, I've been listening, it honestly makes me like panic. Like,
really?
Yeah. Like, oh my God, what weird thing did I say that this person who I've known probably 20 or whatever years, and it's a lot of people. I'm not speaking about one person in particular.
Yeah, for sure.
This person I've known my whole life. They know nothing about any of this stuff. I've never acknowledged the UFO stuff, and they're listening to every episode. It's a reality crushing moment for me. Like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, this is getting real. This is getting really, really real, so.
I wonder, I mean, obviously you've had a very different experience than I have, but I wonder why the first feeling that comes to you is panic, Like, I've had it, it's happened a few times with me, and I'm always filled with gratitude and joy, and it makes me so happy.
In that same vein, I kind of have a similar feeling to Ryan in this one instance where I started this new job. I've been there about 6 months now, so not that new, but like started this job and a couple months ago opened up to my mentor about the show. Shout out Matt.
Shout out Matt.
Super cool dude. And he was like all about it. And we like, started talking about it and awesome guy, whatever. We go into our Friday meeting with like our whole entire department and we do a positive focus. And his positive focus for the meeting was like, yeah, my good buddy Alex turned me on to his podcast.
What?
And it's like, and I'm like, I appreciate the shout out, but you just like, oh my God, like everybody knows now. Like,
he brought it up in a meeting?
Oh, to everybody in my department.
What?
Yeah, which is awesome. Like,
sure.
Yeah. He's like doing me a favor. Like, hey, go listen to this podcast. And I'm like, oh, God, I'm going to be the alien guy now.
Oh,
like,
my God.
See, you just nailed it on the head. I've been the alien guy.
Right.
So,
right.
like, I don't know. It's one of those things that I just have to overcome. And who knows if I ever even will, bro, because
I think you will. I think you absolutely will.
I hope so. But, like, the truth of this is, I guess this is the episode to do it and to get deep. And I've been feeling this way lately anyway. But ever since my dad and my brother Junior had their initial experiences and then, started telling everybody, because naturally when you have an experience like that, you think everyone's just going to believe you,
right.
You don't anticipate that they're not, and they went and they told people and immediately it was like, yo, you're crazy.
Yeah.
You're insane. Are you on drugs? What the fuck? Are you dealing with the devil? You know what I mean? It was a harsh, like, abusive, not physically violent, but like emotionally violent, hateful response from the people around us. And I guess what I'm learning to overcome from that is like, it doesn't, like, people aren't, necessarily react. They still are. People are still reacting that way. That's kind of why I've been in this place lately and want to do this episode. But all of that comes back to me when people from my life who've known me since these times and treated us that way, or like shunned us because of these experiences, or this or that or the other, or spread rumors about us or whatever. And then I find out that like they're going and they're listening to our show. It just sends me into a shock. Like, oh my God, like
you're anticipating being judged.
Yeah. Or like remembering, you know what I mean? Like
right.
we're like regressing to a time. It's this confusing thing. And, in other news, the show is going very well, and I'm very grateful. But that's kind of where the when keeping it real goes wrong. Like it's at the point now where it's affecting my daily life, and like ever since, to be honest, ever since I did DMT and I woke up, I have not been living the same life since. You know, and like it's crazy because I had this profound thought recently. That like in DMT, what you kind of learn there is like everything becomes beautiful when you let go. And lately in my life, since waking up from that experience, whatever. And by the way, I do not recommend anybody out there just go and do DMT. Like, oh, cool. Ryan talked about it. Let me do it.
Right.
No.
Yeah. It can be dangerous.
It's some life altering stuff. It's life altering. I'm not saying I regret doing it, but I really believe that it brought some, it like opened a doorway into my life for very profound changes to come into my life and into me that I did not expect. And like, I'm finding that my real life is mirroring the feelings and the experience that I had in that trip. It's almost like your consciousness is just blasted with this energy or this force that allowed things to change and move around in my life. And what's happening to me is essentially, to go into too much crazy detail, I've essentially, just like I had an ego death in the DMT experience and was completely just ripped out and forgot who I was or anything like that, and was just like beholding this experience, these lights and these colors and this face of this entity. And it was like, this terror. And then I let go and it became beautiful. I'm right now in my real life, I'm facing this fundamentally just like breaking down who I am as a person. And without going into any names or any details or anything of that nature, there are some people in my life who have made it a point that they're individuals who have been aware of this phenomenon and this experience impacting our life, and from the start have been judging us, have been suppressing us, have been saying it's evil, have been, despite all the positivity that it's brought, all the change that it's brought, all these amazing.
Yeah, they don't see that.
They don't see that.
They don't choose to see that.
They don't choose to see that, yeah. And fundamentally, just like full on trying to tear me down for going out and expressing myself.
Yeah. But
it just so happens that, some of these individuals are people who have held some sort of significant, emotional importance or weight in my life. Mm-hmm. So like, it's not one of those situations where it's just like, forget the haters.
Shake off the haters.
Yeah. It's not that kind of thing. It's a little more real than that. And I'm just kind of finding that in the last several months, 5-6 months, personally, outside of the show, you guys always see this fun, demeanor or whatever. But like me, Ryan, the individual whose identity is also, separate from the podcast, I find that I've probably been in one of the darkest places in my entire life, despite, the amazing, incredible things that the show has brought. And I don't blame, like, I guess where I'm coming from is like, this podcast has changed my life in a way that I never thought that it would. Because in my mind, it was grind. Let's get it out. Let's get it going. We got to tell the story. I wasn't thinking of the consequence. I wasn't thinking of the way that I spoke about things or things that I said or energies that I presented. I was, but I wasn't being that mindful. And like, I kind of did come out onto this show with the intention from a very painful, unhealed mindset or whatever to be as shocking as possible. Like I just want to shock the fuck out of people and like break down what they believe and like, dispel all this old stuff that doesn't matter and blah, blah, blah. And I guess I'm finding like, I don't know how to say it. I'm finding that I'm realizing what matters to me is trying to let go of that old mindset of like, forget those people. They judged me. They didn't this or didn't that, or they didn't believe, they said I'm evil and crazy. And I'm trying to find this place of like, just finding internal peace and letting go of that judgment, that hatred, that whatever, because it still goes on. And yeah, I don't know. I just feel like lately I haven't even been projecting the most positive version of myself on the show, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's been bleeding into not only, you know, my interactions with people privately and in my family or social circles or whatever, but I feel like it's also been bleeding into me on the show. And I find that I'm regretful of how I've been even on the show, like in regards to, bro, let's be honest. I make a lot of jokes about Christianity and old fashioned beliefs. And,
yeah, for sure.
And
I mean, we do,
right? But I'm only responsible for me.
Sure.
Yeah. Shame on y'all.
Yeah. And like the reality behind that is because I was so damaged by these things.
Yeah.
And my ignorant or whatever mindset, I believed that I had to like, fuck you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
fight back.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, you know, maybe that didn't bring an energy to me that was, I got what I deserved, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
you, I think you've said something before, like you attract the energy you project or something like that.
Yeah.
You attract the energy you put out. Right.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's the law of attraction. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't be blamed for that, right? Because it's not like you were consciously thinking like, I'm going to slight these people and I'm going to make them feel bad. And like, you know, it's not like it's subconscious because of the way that you've been poorly mistreated. Like you've been mistreated by people that you care about, by people in a certain community, by people that you trusted. And so like, sure, it's not the best response, but I don't think anybody can blame you. And I don't think you can blame yourself. That was just your reaction.
Yeah. Just kind of like fighting back.
But it's
in
also
your own way.
Yeah.
It's also a very real recorded reaction that's been put out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So my mind is calculating like, oh my God, like, you know, I don't know. I'm just going through this thing and I kind of wanted to do this episode to like reset and say that like, man, this podcast journey has been amazing because it's literally changed my life in ways that I never would have expected. Like, bro, I mean, just going to family functions, like distant family functions, and seeing cousins that I might not have seen in, you know, 5 years or 3 years or whatever, and then seeing them and they're like, dude, I love the podcast.
Yeah.
or a friend of a family that I haven't seen in 8 years or 10 years, you know, someone I don't even really know that well, you know, and they're like, I love the podcast. And now my brain is like, oh my God, you know, like just thinking about everything I've ever said. And fundamentally, I believe that our whole goal from the start was to come out and keep my conscience clean, our conscience clean, and like the whole meta documentary thing. And like, I'm finding that, like there's a real energy behind this that's beyond just, you know, this project, like what we set out to do. It's actually changing my life in ways that I never expected or never understood. It's changing my family's life.
Yeah.
It's changing the dynamic of my siblings and even my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, crazy to say this, man, my dad is even hearing about the show from people in the Department of Defense. They're making comments to him about my show. People in the Department of Defense have even offered to come on, to which I'm like, I'll think about it, you know, but like, I don't know. It's just been a very meta experience for me. I'm grateful for it. And beyond what I've just explained, it's brought me 10 times more positive. But I don't know. I just kind of wanted an episode to be like really candid and just say like, you know, the whole point behind the show, the whole reason we're doing this is to, like we had just talked about with Casey in the last episode, is to share love and to share positivity. And I guess like in retrospect and reflection, I don't appreciate the way that I have been putting down certain belief systems or certain mindsets of anybody out there just because they damaged me. I still agree with everything I've ever said, like, you know, all the esoteric stuff. I mean, it's true, but I guess like I'm in a place where I'm trying to be more mindful about, you know, where I come off about things, and it's a new leaf in my brain.
Yeah, man. I think when it comes to stuff like this, the true only answer, and we talked about this a little bit in private, but like, I think the only answer, whether it's like you're facing ridicule, you're facing judgment, you're facing, you know, whatever it is, if somebody's trying to get buck with you in that way, Like, I feel like the only true response is compassion and like smile through it. Like I told Ryan this story earlier. I paint my nails sometimes. You guys have probably seen it on the show before. But when I first started doing that, I had a family member come up to me like kind of judgy and like yeah, and like, oh, what's up with your nails? And I was like, oh yeah, they're pretty, right? Like whatever. I was like, I knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
I was just like, I'm gonna kung fu this and like turn it back on you. And you know, you got to make a mirror for somebody and show them like, hey, this is what you're doing. Are you sure you want to choose to be that person? And so I was like, oh yeah, they're pretty, right? And they were just like, I meant like, what's going on with that? Like, why'd you paint your nails? And I was like, why do you paint your nails? It was a woman. Why do you paint your nails? And she was just like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I get it. And I just smiled through it. I was very polite, very nice, very loving. Like that's how you really do. Yo, I'm going to quote my boy Gandalf here for a second. The Hobbit, he says, Sauron thinks that it's through great power that he's able to change the world around him. I'm paraphrasing. Through great power that he's able to, get shit done, change things around him. But Gandalf says, I find that it's the small things, the simple acts of kindness and love that keep the darkness at bay.
Yeah. And like, to be perfectly honest, man, I had a lot of stress on my back, with like, when I was 18 years old, my dad told me, the beings told me, the entities said that someday you would be instrumental in sharing the story, and
said that you would.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that I have the power, whatever the fuck that means. I have the ability to speak about this and that someday I would, be doing it. And I get like, when we started the podcast, I had all this stress, all this pressure on my back, all this weight on my shoulders to, get out there and do it and like make a mark and like, and we did. We truly did. I mean, we've made a mark.
We have.
But it's like, I do think maybe there's a cost for that sometimes, you know what I mean? And like, maybe the cost was me having my ego destroyed, totally just fundamentally just butchered. And now I'm at a place with this project. I'm just being 100% honest. Like, I'm not acting. I'm not putting on like we usually do and be all silly. I'm just being 100% me. I'm at a point now where like, this is only going to be a fun thing for me. There's, no more stress, no more like
fear of judgment,
no more fear of judgment, no more putting out an energy that is rebellious because I've been so suppressed in my life. Because that's the truth. The reality is like me coming on this show initially for the first 60 plus episodes and being like, the way I was just, and
you're ready to fight, motherfuckers. You're ready to scrap
because people have hurt me so bad.
For sure, man.
It's like, I just don't think that we're at a time in history where most people understand. I think we're only at the dawn of these experiences really beginning for humanity. Mm-hmm. And I think my family may, be some sort of sacrifice in that grand scheme that we got the butt end of it and took the judgment and the ridicule and the pain and all that to sort of be able to, help people through that. And there's many others, but we can't deny that my family's really out there publicly.
I think it's that I don't look at it personally, and like, this is your family, so I can only speak to a certain degree, but just as an outsider looking at it, I wouldn't classify it or look at it as like a sacrifice per se. I think it's a part of the journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I have no doubt in my mind that wherever this experience that you and your family are going through, I have no doubt in my mind that the place that it ends up will be a good place.
I've always believed that. And like, again, not, there were some times in my childhood when all this stuff was going on that like, at times it was a living nightmare in our home. It was a living hell. And, this is a long time ago, far and away, almost 16 years ago, where I've come to like learn to process these things as an adult and think through them and understand why things happen the way they did. And I guess I'm just realizing now, who knows, maybe, maybe taking some of these psychedelic substances have just altered the way I think about things. And, I'm coming to these new ways of thinking. And I guess I'm just realizing like, I started out being rebellious. Like, I'm going to get these people who, did me the way they did.
Yeah.
And I guess where I'm coming from now is like, I don't want to be that way anymore. I just want to be the positive guy or the guy who just is an example for others to know that there really are forces out there that have our backs. And like, this is what it looks like to have grown up with them. This is what it looks like to have spent your whole life thinking about these real beings that, I mean, mind you, we're seeing with our physical senses. Like, they're real, touching them. I've touched them. They've touched me, and I've seen them and I've heard them. And like, I know they're real. And like, this is what it looks like for someone to spend, a decade and a half from childhood onward, pondering what the implications of this are, and going to church and pondering like, why is my pastor telling me this is evil, but it's coming to my house and like touching me in my bedroom? That actually happened. An entity touched me in my bedroom, and they're coming into my dreams, and they're showing me this spiritual shit about like Egyptian mysteries and hieroglyphs, and they're teaching me about, they're putting words in my brain in my sleep. I don't talk about that a lot, but like these Egyptian words come to me, and I wake up and I study it, and it's real. It's real ancient stuff, which is why I'm into this. And like, they're telling my dad all this very specific knowledge that like exists in these mystical texts. And like, my life has been totally flipped upside down by literal beings of light that I don't even, know their names.
Yeah.
They're these conscious entities that are coming to me, so mysterious, and boop, boop, boop. Hey, here, we got a message for you. And then like, in my real life, people are like, don't even acknowledge the fact that we're having experiences.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to reconcile. Like, and I've been, this show and me going public and expressing myself in some way authentically, the real version of me is not that rebellious person. I believe this has been the catalyst for me to shed that. Finally. But
if I can be real candid and honest for a second, I could see that trajectory happening in you. I've seen it for a while, and like, to be honest, I always knew what it was. It's a trauma response.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a trauma response. But like, I'm here to support you. I'm here to support you, and I knew, as a bystander, as somebody who's partially detached from this, this thing, I knew like, this needs to be happening. This is part of the journey. Like, I think that, we've had conversations about it before. We've had conversations about like, you went a little buck wild, whatever, as a team, or we just discuss it. It's never like a confrontation.
Yeah. It hasn't been that.
No, never. It's just discussions. But I mean, like,
and usually we would laugh about it.
Absolutely.
Back then.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so it's always been a thing. I've always known that like, it's something that you will shed, and I've seen the progression, and this is like the boiling point. This is where it finally pops like a bubble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I fucking hate that you have had to go through what you've had to go through, man. Like, you're my best friend, and it hurts me. It really, really hurts me when I am communicating with you, and like, we could be talking about anything, a video game, anything, and I can just feel it, man. I can feel the hurt. I really can. It fucking sucks, but I am so optimistic and so happy that this can be a catalyst for you to pop that bubble, release the pressure, and say, fuck all that negative shit, man. I'm living in love. I'm living with love, and positivity is it, period. Like, it hurts to see you like lashing out, because that's just like, it's like he's feeling pain. He's lashing out in
like
pain.
a wounded animal. Yeah.
100%. It's like, and it hurt. It's not, it doesn't feel good to watch your best friend like going through that. But again, I always kept it in the context of, this isn't the end. This isn't the end result. This is not the final
transformation. Yeah.
It's the transformation.
I'm at a point in my personal life where I feel like I've been fundamentally broken down to like, like the appearance of me, the image of me has been fundamentally broken down to its lowest form, to the people in my private life, where I'm just like, I don't care anymore. Like, I don't care if people believe. I don't even care. Don't take this the wrong way, boys. I don't even care if the podcast is successful.
Right. I know what you mean.
You know, like, I used to stress so much about the success of this thing and the future of this thing. You know why? To prove them all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the wrong energy.
You know what really proves people like that wrong? You know what really does it is you being happy.
Yeah.
That's what really does it. 1,000%, man. I've gone through similar things where dude, life's hard as fuck. Life is so hard. It's confusing. You don't know which direction to go. It's very confusing. You have to learn all of these lessons by going through them. And like in the moment, it might feel like my life is in complete shambles. But like later on, you'll look back at it as like, oh man, I'm so glad that I had that lesson to go through at that period of time, because now my life is so much better and enriched because I learned so much from that. I think the hard things are the things we learn the most with.
Yeah.
You know, the things that we go through in life that are fucking hard. I think that's when we learn our real lessons. It's just like, you know, we were talking about music earlier. And how, like, you know, I think we were talking yesterday about music because we were just like piddling around playing music and stuff. And I was like, yeah, man, music is psychic. Music is magic. It's fully magic. And it only works when you fully get out of your own way. And the way that you fully get out of your own way is you let yourself be free and you let yourself make mistakes. You let yourself make mistakes. Mistakes are the best thing that can happen to you when you're doing that, because then you learn how to not make those mistakes. That's what jazz players do, bro. They transmogrify mistakes into a new chord progression.
Yeah.
They make a mistake, they're going in a different direction, and it creates something so much more beautiful than it would have been.
Yeah.
And unique.
I know that in concept, but I guess what I'm having a hard time reconciling is like the humiliation of real life, everyday people who are regular occurrences in my life, who from the start, who never were into this phenomenon stuff, and it's taboo and we don't talk about it around them, important people in our lives.
Yeah.
And then like the podcast is like growing and like we're getting, you know, this incredible feedback, this incredible community. And then like some of these people like, oh, he's out here talking about this taboo stuff. Let me check it out. And then they pull it up and we're talking about you know, all this really deep, shocking stuff like
chakras and
tantra, you know, beings of light and all this like crazy non-traditional stuff. And like, that's what I've stumbled into is like, you know, there are people in my life who actually think I am evil.
Okay.
Who am like satanic, like evil.
So let me, and that's like, you never want to feel that from people you care about, right? Like, it's an inherently terrible feeling.
It's just like what my dad went through when it first happened.
So that makes you feel humiliated.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
The fact that they think that you are quote unquote evil.
Or no, I guess the humiliation part comes from the like people finding it and or you know, like people who should never even have turned it on because they're not into this stuff and watched it just to see what old Ryan was talking about. You know what I mean? Like,
what part of it is humiliating? Is it that like you are talking about things that a lot of people would deem quote unquote weird?
Yeah, weird or evil or crazy or made up or, you know, like.
And you feel humiliated because that person, you think now that person thinks I'm crazy.
No.
Okay.
No. The humiliation is, I don't know, that might not be the right word, but it's like, you know, like the exposure, the level of awareness that, you know, there are thousands of people out there who like, I'm coming to terms with the fact that like, this is more than just like, you know, being silly on camera. Like I'm really venting.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm just wondering, like, when you feel that, when you get that feeling, like what feeling is it? If you had to name a feeling,
like, I don't know, like shame or guilt or like, regret. Like there are just things in my life that are so far out of the control of any mortal person that like I can't, it's not that I want to take them back, but I couldn't if I wanted to, you know, like you just can't take back that, dude. Like for example, this is again, it's like not to be all boo-hoo, but like this is the show, so I guess this is the time. I usually feel guilty for even venting my emotions.
That's why we started this thing.
Yeah, but like, you know, it's really hard to, you know, when I was like 22 years old, 23 years old, I'm flown out to Pennsylvania to go to a exclusive mansion party where there are, officials from the CIA who are like on behalf of the Department of Defense managing the subject of disclosure and are telling us like, your family is it. Oh my God. Like, oh my God, I'm so honored to be with you and to know you, blah, 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 blah. And then I go home and it's like treated like trash. You know what I mean? Like this dichotomy of, I've lived this James Bond life of literally being around like spies and NASA scientists and Department of Defense undercover agents and, psychic remote viewers and this and that and blah, 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 blah. And then like, people just not even like, I don't know, like going home, phasing into my normal life around normies or muggles or people who, have no idea about any of this stuff. And, oh yeah, no, they're crazy. They've been seeing all that, crazy demonic shit all these years and blah, blah, blah. And they're making it up and they're doing it just for money. That's one of the comments.
Right.
They're doing this just for money.
Which like,
they're exploiting.
Wow. If that was the truth, you guys are doing a fucking terrible job. Let me just tell you that. If you're doing it for money, you've been doing a bad job.
Wait,
Very
you guys
bad
are
job.
getting paid for this?
No, we're not. No, we're not. No.
I mean, like we do have ads and everything, but
of course
we're not living on that. It's peanuts. It's to support the show.
Exactly.
Like
and we appreciate every bit of it, of course. It keeps the show going.
Yeah.
Okay, but I want to talk about this. I really want to dissect this and get into this because I want you to be free of those feelings. I really want to see you liberated from those feelings. And so let me ask you something. Do you ever do you judge someone based on their beliefs, or do you judge?
No.
Or do you judge someone based on the content of their character? Shout out Martin Luther King Jr. By the way.
Yeah.
By the content of their character.
No, I don't. I truly don't. I don't judge people for their I mean, like, I'm weary of people with very like dark negative beliefs, but I don't hate them. I don't judge people for their beliefs. Well, first of all, I try not to judge anybody ever because that's one of the first things my dad ever taught me.
When I use the word judge, I don't mean judge. I mean more like
you gauge a person's character.
Exactly.
No, for me, it's all about actions and intention. It's about intention. What is your intention with pushing your religion? Is it because you love me and you believe that the energy that you're following or serving could help enrich my life and bring me joy, or is it because you believe I'm evil and you're scared that I'm going to burn in hell because I'm not on your level?
Well, and honestly, yeah, that's true. But honestly, even remove the religion thing from it. When you're just talking about when you meet a new person and you are sizing them up, you're gauging them as a person, I don't know. Personally, I think that like if you are judging somebody based off of the things that they believe that have literally nothing to do with you in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter what it is. If it is in the house of religion, or if it's mystical stuff, or if it's aliens, or if it's Yetis, Bigfoots, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. If you believe in something, there is zero reason why that should have any reflection on who you are as a person. And like if you're worthy of being in people's lives. You judge people based off of who they are as a person.
Yeah, actions, intention.
And so like when we talk about things like Christianity, the idea of Christianity is to be Christ-like.
Yeah.
Right? It's to be like Christ. What was Christ like? Christ was exemplary. Christ was not judgmental in the slightest.
He, according to the parable, the New Testament, he was hanging out with the dregs of society, the lepers and the sinners and the prostitutes. I mean, like,
because they are no less worthy of love. No one is any less worthy of love for any reason. Period. Full stop.
I got you. I can maybe answer your question, the humiliation part, because like these experiences, they're really ahead of the times, the beings and the knowledge that they have. I mean, of course, it's like ancient knowledge, but the paradigm has been up until recently, like either Christian or atheist. I mean, that's just how it was in America.
Yeah.
It's like it's either this or this. Like these two things were at war, and like
binary.
It was binary. It was very binary. And then like, these beings are coming around and they're waking up people and they're giving all this like new knowledge that are releasing us from these fear-based systems. And I guess the humiliation is, there are still people in my life that I'm attached to and that I love, but they're stuck in these old, like, fear-based belief systems. And I guess the casualty there, or the humiliation there, is like, I'm coming out here with a clean conscience and trying to share experiences and share like things that I've learned in these rabbit holes and this and that and the other. And like people, because of the nature of like my truth and me speaking my truth and what I've lived and my experiences, it shocks people so badly that they either immediately, dude, people hear about this UFO stuff or the podcast or whatever, and they go down the rabbit hole to figure out what the podcast is about. They either love it, like, wow, tell me all about it. Oh my God, I had no clue you were having all these experiences. Or they hate it and like never want to talk to me again. They think we're crazy. They think it's a dichotomy. And that's the part that I can't take back, is like, it's like, having these experiences, it's really polarizing to people, like most people can't understand that. They can't fathom that just by being a witness to entities that are flashing around, just by being a freaking witness, that it's so polarizing to people. But what's the worst part? The human brain and trauma. It's like, of course I want to talk about it, bro.
Yeah,
like I'm seeing it all the time. I can't not talk about this shit. It's just as real to me as you and me. You know what I mean? As you are now. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Probably as many times as I've seen you, to be honest.
Yeah.
Honestly. And like, that's the part that sucks, is like, talking about it and it being, it's a reality of mine that is beyond the point of doubt or this or that or the other. And then there's people that are so closed. It's like just asleep, spiritually, mentally, and just immediately just judge me or write me off. And like, the lesson here, I guess I'm learning, is to, just try to let that go and just like, be more positive and compassionate towards other people.
100%.
I'm coming to a new place now where I don't want to like try to break down what people believe. Or I read a quote the other day. It was either a Gnostic quote or it was a Rosicrucian quote. I can't quite remember, but it impacted me. It was like, you should not judge other religions or other spiritual beliefs, because of all the religions, the one divine truth or being or whatever. I mean, that's the truth. We all come from light. There is one light that everything comes from. And like, that is reflected in every culture. Yeah. It's reflected in every religion. Mm-hmm. Naturally, there are people who believe in these things wrong.
Yeah, sure.
But there are beautiful pearls of wisdom from Judaism, from Christianity, from Islam, from Hinduism, from Jainism, Sikhism, Buddhism, blah, 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 Taoism. They all have wisdom in them. And like 100%. They might not be complete. They might not all have always good stuff in them that's old and probably out of context. Some, like Judaism talks about sacrificing people. Islam talks about sacrificing people. Like all these religions have dark.
Christianity talks about sacrificing people.
Well, that's why I said the Judaism.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because they're meshed. But like all these religions have bad in them, but also do have good in them. And like there are pieces of the divine reflected in each of them. And I guess that's what I'm coming to now, is like, it's not right of me to receive this judgment and this criticism and this hatred, truly hatred, and this ridicule from these people, and then the right thing for me to do is to go reflect that back and be like, I'm gonna get you. It's just, I just wanted to reset and say like, I kept it a little too real. And I get, so when keeping it real goes wrong. Yeah. But, you know what? If I wasn't in a good enough place to be able to think things through and see a light at the end of the tunnel, we wouldn't be talking about this.
100%, man. You would just stay stuck in those same ways, and it would continue to reap negative things for your life. I think you hit it on the head, man. It's all about compassion. It's all about love. And like, you have to remember, like, does judgment hold any value?
No.
It doesn't.
I think judgment is wrong in every scenario, like negatively judging a person.
I would agree.
There's an energy there. There's a spiritual energy there that when you judge another person and you're thinking about them and you're vibrating them in your brain, thinking negatively about them, you're affecting their spirit.
Fully. Yeah, no, I agree. And
I'm feeling the weight of that.
Yeah. And think about it this way. So if somebody is judging you in any way, when it's happening. You always do. You can feel it. If somebody's judging you, based off what you just told me, that there is no value. It is a negative, evil thing to do to someone, to judge them.
Yeah.
It is wrong. It's wrong. And so the only thing that should come into your head is like, this is wrong for this person to be doing this to me. And therefore, this is coming from a place of hurt, and what they need is love.
Yeah.
What they need to feel is love. Like, if you just mercilessly, like, aggressively love these people, there's no way they can continue to mistreat you. And then one day, when things are in a better place, then you can have the conversation with those people and say, hey, just to tie this up with a bow, I just want to let you know that, when you were judging me and being judgmental to me in the past, like, that wasn't okay. And like, it really hurt me deeply. And I forgive you. And it's okay, because I still love you. And I continued to relentlessly show you love, even though you were mistreating me. But like, we're okay now. It's all right. I understand. It comes from hurt. It comes from fear. It's not valuable, that judgment. There is no value there. It's only coming from a place of hurt, I'm
not gonna lie to you. Like, I never listened to this, and I never like acted on this. Obviously, I mean, we're still here, and I never like took it seriously, but I had lots of intrusive thoughts about quitting this, but I was like, you know what? I can't. Like, it would do no good. They were just thoughts.
How could you not have thoughts like that, man?
Yeah. Well, it's not even like they were mine. It was just like, just like, oh my God, like, this is too much to bear, but I'm reminding myself why we're doing this in the first place. And nobody said it was supposed to be easy. Nobody said it was supposed to all be positive.
Yeah.
And there was a time, I think, where like everything was positive, and it was just like victory after victory after victory after victory. And then the reality kicked in, and I start speaking to people one-on-one, like off the internet, like, people that I know in real life, and like hearing their very hateful, toxic judgments, again, basically, saying I'm either lying or crazy or evil, one of the three,
Yeah.
And like, it's like, that, I guess that just sucks, because I'm just talking about what I've seen.
Yeah,
with my eyes.
Well, dude, sometimes you have to just be straight up in that moment and just be like, "Hey, that's really hurtful. Like, that's not cool. Like, that's really rude."
Yeah, it's like the reality sets in that there are groups of people who are like, in no situation does it feel good for people to sit around and think about you as a liar, or think about you as crazy, or think about you as demonic or whatever. And like that, I guess the whole point of this is for me to release that. I don't know. Like, maybe I felt like speaking about it on air, and like people hearing the reality of like, what it's like. I mean, the whole point of this is to be candid and to show you like, hey, this is what it's like being an experiencer. This is
the reality.
The reality of what it's been. I mean, it's been like a blessing and a curse. It's been, but like, it's also been very positive. And I've witnessed things that most people never could. I mean,
yeah, you got to remember why we started this show. We started this show to do two things: help people and release trauma.
Yeah.
The trauma from judgment, from being judged, among other things.
Yeah, among the the experiences.
We're right back here, and we're just reiterating that. All we're doing is reminding ourselves why we're here. And like, Ryan, you know this. Like, I know that those are intrusive, negative thoughts. You know that if this ever gets to a point where it is more negative than it is positive, like, we can leave this behind. We can leave this all behind. And it is what it is. The episodes that exist will still be out there, and the impact that we have made on people will still be there. Because, dude, it's not, if this gets to a point where it's becoming like, it's unbearable, the negative impact on your life, it's not worth it. You got to live your life. You got to be happy. You have to be happy. But I tell you this for a 1,000,000% fact. The truth is, we let go of the negative. We focus on the positive.
Yeah.
We let go of the negativity, and we just keep trucking forward with the positivity.
That's been a great lesson for me too through all of this, is like learning to detach myself from like these dual perceptions of people. Like, oh, I know they don't believe us. I know they think we're crazy. I know they think we're lying, but you know what? We just don't have to talk about it.
Yeah.
But like, when they bring it up, you know, and it's like such the negative reality that it is, I guess I'm learning to detach myself so much from just caring. Like I'm just coming to a place where I just don't care what people think anymore. I just don't care. Like what's been done is done. What's been said is said.
Yeah.
I've you know, really been through the stuff, and like, I don't know, like at the end of it though, thinking back on it, I'm kind of like very grateful for how far we've come with the podcast, because now we've gotten it to a point where it's stable, and you know, people like, I can't deny the comments are so positive. People love the show.
Yeah.
They really support us. They show up and like they gas us up, and I have to remind myself to be grateful for that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Be grateful for the victories again.
But the victories, they far outweigh the negatives. I mean, just in the catharsis alone, just for yourself, even just look internally and what this and doing this has done for you as a person. All the negative stuff that's happening is all external. That's not you on the inside. That is people doing things to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I do.
The way that this affects us on the inside is overwhelmingly positive.
I guess what I'm learning,
not to mention how many of your personal heroes you've gotten to meet and interact with because of this project.
Who look up to you.
That's true, yeah.
Who not only look up to you, but also are fascinated and believe you with zero judgment. Because they have open minds, bro. That's what it boils down to, is just being open-minded.
Yeah, that's
understanding that things exist outside of your personal experience. Just because you didn't experience something doesn't mean it's not real.
I guess me talking about all this stuff on camera is just seeking a light, seeking positivity, seeking like encouragement, you know, that I don't get from people on the day to day. I'm not saying you guys don't, but like,
sure,
you know,
yeah.
It's also like, you know, like, I guess it's hard. The truth is, and it's the same for my siblings. They're just not the ones who have the knack or the desire to go out and do this and spread this. And like, you know, I guess the truth is, like, my family's been really messed up, man, because we have lived such an incredibly compartmentalized life that we can't even truly function in front of other people. We can't like truthfully be ourselves in front of other people. Like my sister, dude, she is so incredibly gifted psychically.
Oh yeah.
And spiritually.
Yeah.
And she is so bashful or so ashamed or so hesitant to like express that, because what are they going to think? I know how they think about Ryan and Junior. They've gone public. I know how they think about Dad.
Yeah.
What are they going to think of me? You know what I mean? And like the pressure on my family to assimilate into this normalcy, but also like carry this incredible pressure of like these beings showing up and be like, hey, Chris Bledsoe, we serve creation. I'm the divine feminine. Go tell your story. It'll change the world, you know? And I know that sounds crazy, but like, it's the truth of what they said, you know? And like, that's the hard part is like, I don't know. It's like, I'm a human with a human brain that compartmentalizes things just like everyone else. But for me, the compartmentalized things are like, dude, when I was 15, I was getting mocked at school and then going home and there was a NASA scientist sleeping in my bedroom and I was on the couch some weekends because he would drive from Cape Canaveral and Mom and Dad would say, Ryan, you're on the couch tonight. Hal's going to be in your room. And when he came to our house for 10 or whatever years, he was literally sleeping in my bed. You know what I mean? Like, that's the life I live. I shared a bed with a NASA scientist. You know what I mean? True story.
It's wild.
And like, you know, that's the thing that I'm coming to terms with as an adult is learning how to express myself authentically with the right energy that brings balance and peace into my life. And that's kind of what I'm coming to terms with. This, like, I'm responsible for myself and what I bring to me, and that's kind of where I want to go. Is I want to remember why we're doing this and not get caught up in the pain of it or the negativity of it or the trauma of it. I just want to release that shit.
Yeah, man.
I'm over it.
You deserve it.
I'm over it.
You deserve to release it. Dude, you just, you're molding yourself into a warrior of light and love, just like because you were trying to fight negativity with negativity.
Yeah.
You were trying to do that.
And I wasn't even conscious of that.
Oh no, you
know what
never
I mean?
are. You never are. You don't know you're
I just
doing
thought
it.
I was doing what I was supposed to.
Yeah, it feels right in the moment. It's like almost addictive. It like feels right. You're like, well, they did this to me, so I'm gonna fucking give it right back to them. But man, when you realize that like that hurts you more than it hurts anyone.
Yeah.
Lashing out, it hurts you more than it hurts anyone.
Like, like I've said
it keeps you stuck in the cycle of negativity.
Yeah.
And as soon as you remove yourself from the cycle of negativity, it's nothing but positive. So people can throw all that shit they want to at you and it bounces right off because you're like, that's not the path I'm on. I'm not getting distracted from this path with your negativity. You come back to me when you get that shit figured out. I'm moving forward. I'm staying positive and I'm going to keep loving you. I'm going to love the shit out of you. And you're going to be mad at me for how much I love you. And it's going to break you. It's going to break the negativity, the cycle of negativity.
And like, in truth, I actually told my dad this last weekend and he was really cool about it. He was really cool about it. And I told him, Dad's always on me about language on the show, you know, and like, your parents have made comments about us using language. Alex's parents have made comments about us using language. My parents have made comments about us using language. Your mom said something. Maybe it was something not related.
Mom, I love the fuck out of you.
I love your parents,
You're the best fucking mom in the fucking world. I love you.
Your parents have been a blessing to me, man. I've always been so fond. Like in the many years of staying at your house, your parents were always so warm and so kind to me. Like never like, you stay with some friends and their moms are so comfortable with you or their dads, they'll like get on you and stuff.
Yeah.
Your parents never did that to me.
No.
They were always so nice to me. And
yeah,
like
my mom is like an angel. Like
she is.
She is truly like God.
She's an angel.
She is so wonderful. And Dad is an amazing, incredible person too.
That's my brother, dude.
Oh man, I'm so grateful. And we had a very dark period in our relationship. Like I think a lot of people have with their fathers. It happens.
Yeah, or mother or whatever.
Exactly, or mother. Yeah,
it's natural. It's with
between parents.
It's
and
growing
children.
up.
It happens, but we had a very dark period, and the way that we got through that is just by me just being relentlessly loving to him. And I mean, he was, I won't go into details, but it got pretty ugly, and like. The whole time I knew like this is a leech on him.
Your dad is he's also an angel.
Oh, absolutely.
You guys may not have always been angels to each other, but you know what? You're father and son. But like to any outside person, like your dad is an exemplary, man.
He absolutely is. And I'm so grateful to have him as a role model. And like, I learn so much from him all the time. And we are at an amazing, beautiful place in our relationship now. And I truly am so happy that he's my dad. But I mean, like the only way we ever got through that was just love.
Yeah.
It was just like, hey, you, because I never had a question like my dad fucking loves me. I never had a question about it in my life ever once. Both my parents, they fucking love me and I love them, period. That was never a question. But, when really dark shit's going on, it's easy to feel like this sucks. Like, whatever. But, and there was a period of years where I was being really rebellious and fighting back and like, you can't treat me this way. Like, whatever. It's kind of like stoking the fire and just fighting back with negativity. And it was only when I started just bombing him with love and just like, I don't care. But also a huge part of it is standing up for yourself.
Yeah, staying or not even necessarily standing up for yourself, but staying firm in yourself and your values. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when I say stand up for yourself, I don't mean like
buck up. Like,
I don't mean keep your sword ready. I mean keep your shield ready.
Yeah, like be true to yourself.
100%.
Like firm in yourself and your values.
That was honestly, and I've had that scenario happen with many of my family members and also friends who tried to challenge me in a similar way or judge me in a similar way or like, wow, you talk about weird stuff on the whatever, and you just have to like this is me, dude. Like this is me, and if you don't like it, bye-bye. I got plenty of love in my life. I got plenty of, and it's weird because like you even at a certain point when you become an adult, the people that you used to look up to as like, whoa, they're adults, like your parents, your grandparents, your whoever is older than you. When you're an adult, you realize like oh, these are just people. Like,
Yeah.
they're literally just people, and
Just
they have
as weak or strong as me, just as vulnerable, just as confused as me,
100,
just as hurt or unhealed as me.
absolutely.
You
Like they are just people. They don't have all the answers, and it is so likely that you're going to have differences in opinions and beliefs because everybody's different, and you have to demand respect as an adult to say like as a person to say like, this is who I am. This is what I believe. This is like who I am as a person. And like, you can judge me and do all that. That's you. That's you. That's not me. That's just going to hurt you. So if you want to do that, that's fine. It's bouncing right off of me though. Like, I'm me. And like, also you love me. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be like, shut up. You love me. Cause like my parents, even for a very, very small moment, were like a little weirded out by the podcast. Like, wow. Cause
But you know what? They're coming around.
Oh, they've come completely around. And the only reason is because I stood my ground. And I was like, yeah, but like, they're like, wow, I'm just worried about your soul. A long time ago, whatever. And I'm like, you know me. Like, you know me as a person. You know my heart. You think I'm going to be punished? You know what I mean? That might sound cocky or whatever, but I'm very confident in the fact that in many ways, I am a good person. And I think it's important.
Or at least trying to be.
You know what? Yes, that is a great way to put it. I am at least trying my hardest to be a good person. That's at the top of my priority list.
Yeah.
And I think if that's at the top of your priority list is spreading love and being a good person, you're doing it. You're living like Christ. You're doing it.
That's the whole point. That's the whole big secret is there, like, and then I'm going to go back to what I was saying about my dad, but I do want to say this.
My bad.
No, it's okay. But like, that is the point. Like, Christ is real. How you interpret that is up to you. Do you,
facts.
You don't have to believe in that's my whole point.
That's facts.
And my
bro.
energy where I was mocking the Bible and mocking Christianity, like I feel like that was a bitter, painful energy, but I actually really to me, Jesus is probably the most important historical figure of all time because it is the most publicly available spiritual sage, which like the parables and the lessons from this character, whether he truly lived or not, doesn't matter. Yep. The parables and the wisdom are actually the true concepts in these ancient mystical societies to reach, like, as you would say, like the Tibetan rainbow body or Christ consciousness or whatever. And like, that is the blueprint for being the most compassionate, loving version of yourself, doing good unto others, do no harm, treat other people how you want to be treated, love, don't judge, give yourself to others, like give to the poor. If someone asks for your jacket, give it to them. It's not literal. It's not saying give your clothes away. It's saying just give yourself abundantly to other people and it will come to you in a spiritual reward, not like you're expecting payment or compensation, but
right.
it's a flow of energy. There's a whole esoteric thing behind that, but like Christ is real, bro.
Yeah, I just want to interject here and say it's very odd. Me personally, since starting this project with you guys, would consider myself more, I guess, textbook religious than I was when we started.
Oh, dude, facts.
Yeah,
facts.
I mean, throughout doing this, I literally like pray every day and more of like a meditative prayer, but
prayer is real.
Yeah,
it's real.
Like manifesting.
It's manifestation.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and I found myself like gravitating back because like throughout my teens and like, that real rebellious atheist kind of phase.
Right.
And I wasn't in that when we started, but I definitely wouldn't consider myself religious. And I think it's funny, we talk all about, you say, shitting on Christianity or whatever.
Yeah. That's just the main one. I've done it to all of them.
Yeah. I don't take it that way, but that's because I know you. But I think it's funny that throughout all of this, that we've said, I personally have grown closer
to God
and religion as a whole through doing this with you guys.
To piggyback off what you're saying, dude, my parents, they're Christian. They're Christian people, whatever. If they're going through a tough time or whatever, you know what I tell them?
What?
Pray, trust in God,
believe
in God, Jesus Christ, God, he's going to take care of you. everything's going to be okay.
And you know what? It's
Because
their,
guess
it's their
what?
belief in that.
Yes, exactly, bro. Because guess what? It's still true. Like, the Bible may not have played out literally exactly how it says or whatever, but the power in it is still true. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, manifestation is just, prayer is just manifestation. God is just the energy of all of us together.
Yeah, it's we talk about this all the time. I'm just saying it for the sake of saying it. God, the truth behind God is it's the eternal mind, whatever, the mind of all, the original light. It's not a dude sitting on a throne like we're taught, but like,
the way that
it's still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
There is a force.
And the way that Christians understand it is via the Bible. And I love my parents and my parents love me and we have a mutual understanding. And so I tell them, I have no problem telling them, maybe you need to pray about it. Maybe you need to just meditate and be with God and try to communicate with God about it. Place your faith in God, place your trust in God. It'll be okay. And they tell me stuff, they tell me I'll pray for you all the time. And I'll say, please do. Like,
yeah, I do that too. Thank you.
Yeah. Because it's real and it really works, but not because you didn't cut your hair and didn't get a tattoo.
You're following the rituals. Yeah,
right. No.
It's about the heart.
It's real because you are manifesting it. We're manifesting it as a whole, man. Like it's the power is in us.
It's the heart.
Yeah. So I don't care how you do it. I don't care if you light incense and meditate. I don't care if you pray to Jesus Christ, Allah. I don't care how you do it. But we're all going towards the same thing. We're all just trying to be better people. We're all just trying to live our best lives and be the best version of ourselves that we can be. The only way that we can do that is by sharing love with each other and
not judging other people.
Because we think of ourselves as separate bodies, but we are not separate, dude.
Well,
we share a soul. We all share a soul.
We are all one soul.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the highest version of reality. You go through the higher levels of truth. It's like it just goes higher and higher, and like the highest cosmic perspective is like we really are all one soul. This one original light that fractalizes itself, and we're all just observing different pieces of we're all different pieces of consciousness becoming more increasingly self-aware.
Yep.
From some cosmic perspective that I believe most people don't understand because they're not hip to this knowledge or whatever. Well, I mean, they're coming to it now, but
hip to the knowledge. Dude, I hope, and I'm going to go pray that the people in your life, and we know in this room who we're talking about, hear the last 7 or so minutes of us talking about how this whole project has brought us all closer to God. And that is some sort of resolve. And I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I don't
want him to hear a word of this.
Either way. Yeah. I just think it's beautiful.
Because the truth is if some people disconnected, their idea of the Bible from it, then in the context of their own religion, they'd be really proud of you.
It's funny too, man, because
you know what I'm saying?
The beings actually spoke to my dad with Bible verses. They didn't say like the Bible is 100% real. They didn't say that. They used Bible verses
because he understands it.
That's what he knows. It, and there's a wisdom behind it.
Yeah,
there's a power behind it. It does not mean it's literal. It does not mean it's the one truth. But there is an energy there. The
divine feminine has appeared in other cultures and referenced other religious texts.
Yeah.
It's not just, you know what I mean? The powers that be, the entities, whatever they are, they're smart, man. It's us. It's smart. It's us, and it knows what we need to hear.
Yeah.
It knows what's going to make it click.
That's exactly right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to go back to what I was talking about, I just saw my dad last weekend and we were talking and he was like, dude, you got to lighten up on, some of the ways you say things because there's independent of what we're talking about right now. But just, he was saying like, you have no clue who's listening to your show, man. Old people listen to your show. And I'm like, Dad, I just want to say I have been being really rebellious. And the energy that I actually said this. I said, I've been being rebellious. I've been lashing out at all the people who hurt me and I've gotten it out of my system and I'm not trying to bring that energy anymore. And he was like, good, I'm proud of you. You don't need to be bitter or negative anymore. Just focus on the light. Just only talk about the light and you will be blessed and you have the power, son. And I was like, my dad always talks like that. He's, he always says, you got the power, man. and like, I don't know, like he's right. Like that made me think like focusing on the light, only focusing on the light. And like, I don't want people out there to ever think that we are trying to like confuse people spiritually or like glorify anything that could be even remotely seen as dark or anything of that nature. The reality of what, if I'm just going to just like vomit out my conscience and like tell it how it is, like the way my brain works and the way I see things based on the thousands of lights that I've seen and how I just how I feel them and how they communicate to me and have given me dreams. I just know that the truth is this universe is a beautiful, harmonious song. It is a big song, and it is a dance. You know what I mean? It is a very intricately planned, preordained experience that you and me and our brains are not big enough to fathom the order of things and how high they go. But everything was written before it happened. Everything is in the stars. It is beautiful. In our realm, it does not appear that way because there are dark forces trying so hard, and it seems like they're winning, but they won't. They're trying so hard to keep us in fear, keep us divided based off of whatever issue, politics, religion, race, blah, 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 all the negative stuff that I consciously do not like talking about on the show because they're divisive. But that's what they're doing. You know, the game is to break everybody down, confuse everybody, make everybody hopeless, make everybody spiritually terrified. And they're putting out all this alien stuff to scare people from understanding the truth of the phenomenon, what the beings are, the ramifications of what this universe really is and the order of things. And like, that's the reality is like, you know, there is light. There is a source from which we all come that is positive. It is eternal. It is never ending. And in some weird paradoxical way, never beginning, but whatever. I don't think we can comprehend that. And like, ultimately, like these lights are good. If you could use a religious term to describe them and then people say, I don't like that. Well, you know, it is what it is.
It's just a word.
It's a word. It's just a word. It's just a word. Yeah. Detach your emotions from words. Detach your emotion from words. They are angelic. Mm-hmm. They are mystical. They are magical. They are miraculous. And that's all I want to tell people. That's all I want to impress on people is that like, there's a reason to have hope. There's a reason to be positive. There's a reason to spread compassion and peace and love, because if and when we do as a majority, that will reflect on us as a whole. We will manifest a new reality. And
there's good left in this world, and it's worth fighting for. Samwise Gamgee.
Hey,
there's good left in this world. We ain't giving up. We're fighting with love,
and we're still going to talk about the esoteric stuff. We're still going to
absolutely.
Show, we're still going to have fun. You know, this is
going to be the same show, just more fun.
It's the same show, and this is a different thing. This was for me to vent and to let things out and to kind of like do a reset and just be candid with the listeners, tell you where I've been, the effects of this show on me. And also like, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who's been listening. It really means a lot to us.
Thank you so much. Seriously.
It's truly a life-changing thing for us. Like beyond, I mean, I've already lived a crazy life, but this is just as crazy as all of it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it like we said earlier, what little money comes into this show goes right back into the show. It's not like any of it goes into any of our pockets yet.
No, we haven't pocketed anything.
Nothing.
No, not
nothing
at all. It's peanuts.
Yeah. But the thing that we are getting from it now is and will always be the biggest thing we could possibly get from it, which is we're helping people.
Yeah, and there's a love returning because of that.
Exactly. And it is being reciprocated. And it's like a community of love and care.
Honestly, I probably get 3 to 4 to 5 DMs every single day. Mm-hmm. Every day. Minimum. I've had hundreds over the past however many years I've been online, but I get 3, 4, 5 DMs every day that are like, oh my gosh, I just found the show, or oh my gosh, I'm on episode 55.
Yeah.
This is changing my life. This is changing my perspective. I just lost a relative. My brother just committed suicide. This issue, that issue, not to like, downplay anything, but I really get messages like that. And hearing your experiences and looking it up and looking into it, and the way you guys talk about things and the positivity on your show has changed my life. We have had hundreds of messages like that. And like, I know there's a good thing here. I know there's a positivity here, and I'm grateful to experience all of it.
Yeah.
The negative, the positive. I believe the positive far outweighs the negative, but I had to release this from me to move forward. I was just at a point to where I didn't feel genuine recording without, I guess, like addressing some of these things, you know, because I don't even want to be perceived as being from a place of, you know, negativity or whatever. And you know what? In the future, I could return to that. Someone could
it's a journey.
Push that wound in me and it come back. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? And I'm human and I'm
it's a journey, man. And every single step is meant to happen.
Yeah.
Every single bit of it.
Yeah.
It's all meant to happen.
And yeah, I mean, like, just thank you for everybody for listening. And I do honestly hope that, and I'm not stressing it, but I do hope that we get to a point with this where, someday we can, you know, do more with this and, like, you know, make the passion projects we really want to make. And ultimately though, like, what we're doing now is already what we set out to do.
Absolutely. Couldn't be more grateful for it already. Like, I could not, because each one of those people that DMs, those are real people.
Real people.
You know what I mean? Like, it can be easy to let it kind of feel like a statistic or whatever, but you remember this person took time out of their day to message me. They took time out of their life to listen to our show, and it has helped them. And they reached, and they're telling me that it's helped them. That's a real person.
Yeah.
And they're saying that just by sitting on this couch and being silly, we helped them. Dude. And then you remember there are thousands of these.
Yeah.
There are so that means that many people, so many people are like literally, really, actually getting positivity from this show, and it makes them feel good.
Yeah. It's pretty mind-blowing.
I could never ask for anything else. Anything else that comes from this show is icing on the cake. Anything else.
Yep. Gratitude. That's the thing that I've been learning this year the most is gratitude. Just learning to be grateful during a storm, you know, like a metaphorical storm.
Yeah,
learning to be grateful when things are rough has been like the thing that has kept me going. And just remembering that everything has a purpose, that everything is preordained, and that everything is supposed to happen. We're supposed to be uncomfortable because that's how you grow. You know,
Absolutely.
And like, I'm just thankful for where we've come with the show. This is episode 69. That's crazy.
LOL 69. Funny number.
Hey,
Yo,
hey.
69. Just wait till we do episode 420, bro.
Oh my
Just wait for that. It's going to be a few years, but wait till we get there, son.
Yeah, but
hey, I want to say I'm grateful for you.
Thanks.
And
dog.
I'm grateful for you,
too,
Alex.
I'm grateful for all y'all.
I'm grateful for you
Hey, don't
guys.
mind
I love you guys.
I love you guys
on, man.
too.
And
Big old dap.
yeah, like I'm super grateful for what we've done and where we are. And most of all, like, I'm grateful now for where we're going to go because I really just don't care about the outcome anymore. You know what I mean? And that's not a bad thing. That's to me, it's a good thing. It's like I don't care about the stress of it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't care about the success of it anymore. I don't care about this, that, or the other. I believe we've already done what we set out to do. And from here on out, it's just, I don't know.
Man, it's
just gratitude.
I'll tell you what it is. From here on out, it's no limits.
It's gratitude too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But since you've released that and since you've purged that, it's only going to be positivity. I mean, it's seriously, you're going to be liberated. You're going to, this is going to only get even better from here on out.
I pray it is so.
It is so. It is so. I promise.
Well, I guess we can round it out. We're over an hour.
Yeah.
Wow.
The next episode is gonna be a normal episode, back to being silly. But you know what? We needed this. We needed to do this.
Yeah.
It's important that we get real with y'all every now and then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, keeping it real.
Keeping it real. It's very.
That's why episode 0 was called that. The whole point of this is we're just being real.
Yeah.
We're doing something. Well, I believe we're doing something that's never been done before. I mean, I don't know, but that doesn't matter. It's just, you know, we're being very real, and what you see with us, even though we're on camera and we're trying to do this, that, and the other, like, this is really who we are.
Yeah.
There's no illusion there. And, you know, anyway, that's all I got.
Thanks for being along for the ride.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all next week.
Thank you.
Love you guys so much.
Hands.
We're kissing prayer hands.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
3, 2, 1.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, check out our other videos.
And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. See you next week.
Peace.